The ASEAN community is committed, participative, and socially responsible. The ASEAN upholds the principles of good governance, promotes high quality of life, equitable access to opportunities, and human rights. The ASEAN community shall reinforce itself with resiliency and effective mechanisms to meet the current and future needs of the people. Dynamic, harmonious, and united, the region stands as a community that's aware and proud of its identity, with a capacity to innovate and proactively contribute to the global community.
Good morning Cebu, good morning Visayas and Mindanao, and welcome to another round of Kapihan sa PIA Cebu. So we are now hosted again here at the Rafi Plenary Hall, and this is Ferliza Contratista from PIA Cebu along with my co-host, Ms. Annabella Rosas of DYMR. Good morning, Ms. Ann.
Good morning, maayong buntag sa itong mga sukitig paminaw sa Kabisayan ug Mindanao ug sa ato ang mga televiewers. Welcome din sa Kapihan sa PIA nga matod pa ni Ferlie diri jud nanukad sa Plenary Hall sa Ramon Aboitiz Foundation. Nihata karon aron pagahisgutan nato ang mga importanteng butang may kalabutan sa edukasyon.
And it's about time that we will know all the other preparations and also kanang kabay sa mga updates sa pag-angayan na itong mahibawan. But before that, Miss Ann, we had, this week is actually a grand week because PIA was also active in this activity. The CHED celebrated their 23rd anniversary ASEAN theme. And just yesterday, we had two-day activity at SMC Seaside City that we will learn from our speakers.
So, ang atong mga bisita karon gikan gyud sa Commission on Higher Education,
Yes.
Region 7, din motoki sa mga butang may kalabutan. Unahon nato kanibang ilang giingon nga 23 katuig nga pagsaulog sa ilahang anibersaryo. Now na nato, no? Ang Education Supervisor, si Dr. Carlin De La Peña. And welcome to Kapihan.
Okay, good morning also sa mga atong listeners and viewers sa karong buntaga. Salamat sa paghatag og chance sa or pag-invite sa CHED sa inyong program karong buntaga.
Okay, kauban sa nato ang Chief Administrative Officer sa CHED 7, Attorney Pasita Isugan. Good morning, Attorney.
May buntag, kanatong tanan. Kami nagpasalamat sa pag-ibita ninyo kanamo karong buntag.
Okay. Kauban na sab nato ang Supervising Education Program Specialist, Dr. Josefino Ronquillo. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning sa tanan mga tao sa Pilipinas, sa pupunan sa Pilipinas na naminaw aming programa. Kapihan sa PIA. Niya kaming taga-CHED, tapos nga maalagad sa inyo kung unsay inyong mahibawan. Salamat sa PIA ng programa ninyo. Buhi gyud kaayo kanunay.
Kauban sab nato ang CHED 7 NIR or Negros Island Region Director, Dr. Freddy Bernal. Yes, sir. Welcome to Kapihan sa PIA.
Maraming salamat. Gusto ko lang na magdiin yung mga tagapakinig at sa radyo at yung nanonood sa television.
Yes, sir. Okay.
He's handling two regions, Central Visayas and also region
Region
NIR.
18. That's
18.
Negros Island Region.
So, siguro pangutano nato si Sir, no? What are the accomplishments of CHED after 23 years of sa serbisyo publiko?
And anniversary first.
Anniversary.
Sige, tungkol sa 23rd anniversary, we had our two-day activities which was concluded yesterday. and we had fun together with the higher education institutions. And the theme is about harmony and diversity, connecting the ASEAN community. And for that purpose, we created awareness and information about ASEAN through dances, songs, and some trivia on ASEAN. Napaka-importante nito sa higher education institutions kasi integrated na tayo sa ASEAN, and ang malaking implication to sa higher education institutions, sa mga estudyante, saka sa mga professionals natin na graduate ng colleges and universities. Anong implications? First, ano to? Ang keyword yan, collaboration, cooperation, and competition. Nakakatakot yung competition, no? Collaboration with our ASEAN counterparts. So, makikita natin, nakikita namin ang scenario na baka magkaroon ng race for university ranking. Ano ba pinakamagaling na university sa ASEAN? And correspondingly, syempre, prestige ng country yan, no? And then there will be mobility of faculty and staff, including students. Hindi lang within the country, but within the ASEAN region. Kaya yung qualification framework natin, ginagawa na natin na kung ano ang pinag-aaralan natin dito, yun din ang counterpart na pinag-aaralan sa ibang ASEAN countries. And so for that purpose, nire-engineer natin yung ating mga programa in all courses, all curriculum. Susod na rin to sa pag-adapt natin ng K-12, no? Yes, sa basic education. Kasi ang issue noon, kulang ng 2 taon ang yung cycle natin bago ka mag-graduate. Kaya pagdating sa trabaho, kuminsan dihado tayo. Yung engineer natin nagiging technician na lang. At yun na ang sinasabi. But then, although magaling tayo sa mga ganyan. So, cooperation between and among universities. So, pinapromote namin yung mga linkages. Hindi lang sa atin, kundi sa ASEAN countries. At sinasabi namin na kailangan i-upgrade ang quality ng higher education institutions kasi yung colleges and universities from other ASEAN countries, hahanap yun kung ano ang ka-level nila. Hindi yun hahanap ng mas mababa pa sa kanila.
Yes.
So, and lastly, nakikita namin in collaboration sa kanina, yung networking, sa instruction and research. Ngayon naman, more competition dun sa pagtatrabaho. No? Yung mga graduates, mga professionals from other countries may come to our country dun sa open na category professions. And kung hindi tayo preparado dyan, they might snatch job opportunities, right?
They might be employed more than us.
Pero, parehas din, sa ibang country, yung mga professionals natin, makakapagtrabaho rin. Kaya, we should be better prepared. Competition, no? Matindihan because of the ASEAN integration.
Now I fully understand why the theme ASEAN was embraced during the 23rd CHED anniversary. Napakalaking responsibility niyan, sir. No? It's a really big challenge, especially to CHED officials and also to the rest of the academy and the schools and the students as well. Diba? Kaya lisod na maya na ang kanang ma-integrate na ta, we might be lacking in terms of sa academics and all. Yeah. When they come here, sila mas ma-employed. Kana kung mato ta dito, mas kita po mas competitive nila. But so far, sir, how are we ranking?
Well, we're doing very well. Huh? In fact, very much in demand ang mga professionals and skilled workers natin abroad. Hindi lang sa ASEAN countries, but throughout the world. Huh?
So, at par tayo sa ibang mga...
and we should be better, not only
yung parang ka-level lang.
No?
So, kasi halos lahat-lahat, no, kailangan i-integrate ASEAN integration, even our human resource.
Yes.
Integration na siya. So, bali for sabi mo kanina, sir, ni re-engineer ninyo yung mga courses. Meaning, kailangang, di ba usually, sir, 5 years ang revision ng bawat programa?
Nire-revise namin yan, ina-amend namin yan, no? To conform with the world standard, no? Hindi lang sa ASEAN country. Kaya, we are benchmarking our curricula sa ibang countries and we are sending our experts there to observe. And then, we are not only getting the best from the academe, pati sa industry, para mag-craft ng mga programs natin for higher education. And that's being done in the central office.
Yes. Before the higher education, who can talk about the K-12? Dr. Girio.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, the Republic Act 10533, otherwise known as Enhanced Basic Education or K-12 Act, signed into law on May 15, 2013 by President Benigno Aquino III, and now it's connected to the CHED, K-12. So now with that, that's having also the two additional grade levels, the grade 11 and 12, and with that thing, there are areas in which that's downloaded to the DepEd, or the 11 and 12 areas. And now the CHED is enhancing all those things and also conforming to the internationalization standards as expected from the Philippines, being that Philippines is really notably good in manpower development or manpower formation of manpower. That's our strength. Okay, so with that thing, as far as this is the what we call the interagency collaboration, the DepEd, the CHED, the TESDA, and the DOLE as the main player for the education sector, so that we could have these kind of graduates, quality graduates, that we have the KUPs, equipped with the KUPs, K as knowledge, U understanding, and P is the proficiency. And basically speaking, that every learner is expected to be equipped with the four main competencies, the K-SAV, K as in knowledge, S as in skills, A as in attitude, and V as in values. So that thing is, that's really how that every learner is expected to have, be equipped with that in the time when they graduate, and that will be holds true also in the time that they will be employed. And now in the K-12, as far as the CHED parlance, with that collaboration, so we have these areas that we are now into that, like the STEM, the ABM, the UMS, and then the TVL. So yan ang collaboration with the DepEd at saka TESDA, that from that TESDA viewpoint, the NC1, NC2, NC3, NC means National Certification 1, National Certification 2, National Certification 3, and then they will be employable, because in the first paragraph of the Republic Act 10533 stated there that at that raw age of the Filipino youth will be employable and contributing to the economic development of the country. So now, on that level of grades 11 and 12, they will be employed because they're already holder of the NC, National Certification 1, 2, and 3, and that will be for employability. Now, by the time that they'll be employed, so you can go to that higher level if they are working at some time studying to the higher level, and that is how the tertiary level, and we call it in CHED now, in the K-12 standard, because in the DepEd standards, they call it as ERC, Employment Readiness Competency, or ARS, Employment Readiness Standards. Now to the CHED, they're in C1 to 3 na, then they are already also injected with this internationally accepted standards in education. So we call it in the CHED CRT, CRS, College Readiness Standards. Because expectedly that these graduates from grades 11 and 12, they already have this kind of competencies that they are already in the workforce. So kaya nga, tinawag namin sa CHED level as CRS, College Readiness Standards. Ito na ngayon ang ginagawa namin Maraming ginagawa na in this transition program, starting from the lifelong learning and going to the scholarship, local, abroad, and plus some institutional development, some research, because Philippines is, as far as according to the Elsevier high-level conference last 2015, August 2015 in Manila, DFA Manila conducted, that in research alone, we got only 20%
20% of
research. Kasi there are reputations mentioned there. First is academic reputation, we got 40% only for the world ranking, university ranking. Second is research, we only got 20%. And then when it comes to employer reputation into abroad, we only got 15%. And then when it comes to faculty exchange, we only have 10%. And when it comes to student exchange, it's only 5%. So meaning to say that our capacity to send our student abroad for exchange is yan lang 5%. Faculty also to teach abroad and also to invite, yes. And then starting from that, with so many factors to consider, because also of some perils of developments in the Philippines, and you know that. Okay.
Nag-split ko, sir, da. Nag-split ko. So, ala sa itong mga yanong ating paminaw sa radyo, ang katong gisgotan ni sir, may kalabutan to sa K-12, no?
yes, so shared participation.
Oh, shared participation nga. O wa ko masayop sa kong interpretasyon, sir, nga ang K-12, no, sa sa DepEd motto ang kanang readiness for
employment
andam nga makatrabaho samtang dinhi sa CHED pangandam na alang sa musunod nga level, no, ari sa tertiary. So motto siya,
Sir, nakaiad, Dr. Bernal, nakaiad.
Ang emphasis ng curriculum development natin ngayon is outcome-based education, yung competencies of graduates. Kasi yung ano natin, we should be globally competitive. Ang emphasis naman ng K-12 at the tertiary level is more on the development of institutions and faculty.
Yes, sir.
Through scholarship, through research, through so many assistants. At dahil kukunti ang mga estudyante sa college, we are taking this opportunity that those faculty members who are displaced or non-teaching personnel can avail of the resources being provided by CHED or offered by CHED.
Scholarships, sir.
Scholarship here and abroad. At saka isa pa, immersion sa industry or research.
That's for faculty.
That's for faculty, no?
So while waiting for the rest of the graduates, or for the rest of the students,
ng K-12 to come to college,
yes,
ino-offer namin sa higher education institutions.
So far, are there any, how about the takers here in the Central Visayas? And are there many institutions and teachers who are availing of those services offered by CHED?
Okay, with that, in the academic year 2016-2017, we have from the applicants nominations of 492, and we have the actually approved who are awarded 243
teachers.
Yes, from the higher education institutions, both public and private. Public and private.
Okay.
So, and the different types also, there is scholarship local, majority na takers, and scholarship abroad because also of the standards of universities abroad, napaka-high, minimal. Then institutional development and innovation grants, and then there was institutional research, sectoral engagement, yes, and you have the Tier 2, the higher level development for research in the higher level areas for internationalization of research, because we lack that.
There are takers?
Yes, of course, because
how many are there?
Actually, we have the Dare to have 6. Okay, the breakdown of that 243 in that scholarship for graduate studies local, we have 164, scholarship abroad 1, Then sector engagement, we have 53. Then senior high school support grants, we have 2. And then we have institutional development and innovation grants, 7. And then Tier 2 or research grants, high level, because research is not as research that it will just, dapat i-publish mo yan. After you publish, dapat nun namin refer it's not that publish and perish. It should be sustainable. Yeah, it should be sustainable. I won't consider that research is really, that output is really into that thing sustainable if it's not being published. So they will start from the local publication going to the Scopus, Thomson Reuters, Web of Science, and the ISI. Yeah, so with that, so that's why it's very minimal for that grant 6, because in Central Visayas, yan talaga is very obvious that we only got the 20% for research international. So yan ang we still need more. And then the last part is in mga displaced. Those displaced faculty na talagang nawalan o trabaho gumikan sa K-12. So we have these 10. But in the previous survey, we do have many, but because of the K-11, there are eskwelahan na buhay, sumubra pa sa section A to Z, ang section sa grade 11. And then, may nabuhay na namatay. Kaya nga ngayon, the first it was, wow, what will happen to the Philippines? It's kind of another, but this time, it's not chaotic, because, there are some fillers into that. My advantages, my disadvantages. There are opportunities, there are threats, or anyway, with a SWOT analysis per se. And that's how. So a total of 243. But the ongoing, we cannot give you that because ongoing pa kami. But the applicants, we already have 598. Medyo nag-increase from 492 last year. Now it's 598 ang mga applicants. But wala pa na ma-awarded because still ongoing ang processing for their na ma-approve sila. Itong 243 approve na, ongoing na, iskola na sila. And there were events, thesis and dissertation grants. There were already who have graduated. There are already 6 in Central Visayas. And then for the AIM, Asian Institute of Management, Advanced Professional Advancement Program, with the CHED and the AIM links or collaboration, we already have here in Central Visayas 2. It's coming from the small schools.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so these small schools were given that opportunity because of that these schools really need to have some assistance because of their financial capacity.
Okay. Yes. So, kanang daghan ka itong istorya, no?
Yeah.
Nindot kayo to, pero unsa may lingtunganay gid ni Sir Kalibang ang benepisyo nga nahatag nato sa CHED nining ato ang mga grantees.
Okay, good question. That's precisely answers to the thing when I made mention about our World University ranking, that we are at that, we did even reach the 50%, and with what made mention our very own regional director, that we're enhancing the quality of the graduates, that they are equipped for internationalization. So with that contribution by CHED, talaga because the first survey when these scholarships or grants were given, only 50% for the whole Philippines only have the master's and doctorate degree holders. Others they are not, because the very minimal entry into the tertiary level teaching is a master's degree holder. You must have master's degree when you teach in the tertiary. So now, what happened is only 50% of the totality of the faculty in the Philippines only have 50% of the total. We're masters and doctorate degree holder. So this is now, we have seen the need. So with that needs assessment survey, and also with our monitoring activities what we conducted, because there were faculty who are highly qualified and then namatay, nag-retire, nagpunta abroad. So these are the factors really that we're in. It's not enough even with that. That is why this round of another allocation for budget for these scholarships and grants will being increased because of that. Kailangan pa natin. So we still have so many. Daghang patagbugas na kanon so that our quality of that graduates could be on that other member states in the world will be more competent.
So mana mo so tas academic pinakagamay nga qualification masters ka, no? So na kay degree. Okay.
Yes.
So
Dana sa after sa K-12, atong pangumustahon diri ni Attorney Sugan, ang kabahin sa kumusta naman ang atong mga local colleges nato? Kumusta naman ang like daghan na ba nato diri ang naanay na monitor natong nindot ng daghan ang i-offer ng courses sa atong mga local colleges?
So, all higher education institutions, or public or private, as well as their degree programs, are under the jurisdiction of CHED. So, before they operate degree programs, these higher institutions, higher educational institutions, are required to secure authority from the government, which CHED is now given the jurisdiction. So before they offer degree programs, these institutions, including public, so SUCs and local colleges, are required to submit applications to CHED regional office for evaluation whether they comply with the minimum standards of the program they are offering. So in CHED, we call the degree program and the course that is the subject of the program. So before they can offer these programs, this should have been granted authority by CHED.
How many public colleges do we have now?
Local colleges, we have 11.
In entire region, excluding NIR.
Excluding NIR.
So 11 public colleges. There are no applications for new for those who want to operate. No applications yet.
Intent.
Not yet. They have submitted their intent.
How many LGUs have submitted their intent to operate their own college?
2?
Only 2 yet?
So, so far, because of the requirements, and there are existing 11. They are now operating, they are now offering programs.
Okay. What about those, because we're talking about the raising of the ranks, no? What about those courses that are actually, schools that are no longer eligible to offer such course? So, like we had the issue on was that in how many years ago, na there was already a school na was no longer allowed to offer that course because hindi well performing or kuwangan sa kuwangan sa mga standards or those stuffs.
So, the requirement is that it should have been granted authority.
Yes, I'm talking about the courses. This school is no longer allowed to offer nursing. Or this school is no longer allowed to offer dentistry, like that.
So if there had been an existing authority and the program is subject to monitoring, and then,
so for now, madam, have we made this step? Like, have we do we have those that are in moratorium or those that are suspended?
Kung maalala ninyo, noon po ang nursing sa teacher education. Then we had this moratorium. And then we can nosedive ang enrollment sa nursing. Demand for nurses abroad. Marami nag-phase out. And yung hindi nag-phase out at hindi nakakapag-comply sa standards namin na nakikita through monitoring, we are forcing them to phase out. Halimbawa, in terms of yung passing out rates sa board examination, napakakunti o hindi, walang nakakapasa, walang namang rason para mag-exist yun. No? At we are only short-changing students creating these appointments, so we are phasing them out. And all the other programs, marami na kami na-phase out the programs at marami pang nasa pipeline. So, also we had our moratorium in the offering sa ngayon yung graduate education, stop muna ang processing. Also sa VetMed, maritime education, we also have moratorium sa, of course, nursing, may moratorium tayo dyan. We lifted moratorium in several programs, pero napakahirap bago mag-offer ng bagong program in IT, in teacher education, may moratorium tayo. In IT, in business education, in hotel and restaurant management, and maritime education. Kasi ang inaano namin, kailangan yung eskwelahan na yun may track record. So to speak, like autonomous or deregulated, may centers of excellence or centers of development, at to make qualification for level 2 accredited status in certain programs. So, ang makakapag-offer lang nun, yung mga talagang well-established schools. Kung walang karapatan, hindi namin inaano. Kasi kawawa naman yung mga estudyante pumapasok doon. And we are very vigilant, in monitoring regularly. At saka, it's not only the regional office doing that. Ginagawa pa yan ng central office. O minsan binavalidate pa yung monitoring na ginawa ng regional office. Tungkol naman sa local colleges, iisa lang ang standard natin sa lahat ng programs, whether it is public or private, state college or community college. Sinasubject sila sa the same requirements. Same requirements. Halimbawa, sa local colleges, before, nakakapag-red ribbon sila sa Department of Foreign Affairs without passing the Commission on Higher Education. So, nakakalusot, nakakapa-abroad without even authority from us. Kasi dumidiretso sa Department of Foreign Affairs. Ngayon, nagkaroon na ng Memorandum of Agreement ang CHED at Department of Foreign Affairs na bago magpa-red ribbon, kailangan ang estudyante magkaroon ng special order coming from CHED. At magbibigay naman kami ng special order kung authorized ng CHED na mag-offer such program. So, maraming local colleges, during our meeting, maraming local colleges ang mga authority from CHED. Akala nila noon, autonomous sila. Walang pakialam ang regulated na Commission on Higher Education. But they are under us, public and private. And so sabi namin, okay, we're giving you 1 year. Bibigay ako mismo, sabi ko, pagbibigay ako ng special order kasi walang kasalanan yung mga estudyante nag-aaral sa inyo. In good faith, nag-aaral yun, thinking na magandang servisyo binibigay ninyo. But upon monitoring, subjecting the program to our standard, hindi pala. So, okay, magbibigay ako ng isang beses lang, special order para sa mga estudyante nag-graduate. Next time around, kaliwaan tayo. Kailangan may authority kayo bago ng special order. Otherwise, we'll face that.
Yes.
So, yan ang sitwasyon ngayon ng
You cannot compromise. You cannot compromise.
Yeah, we cannot compromise quality, lalo na ngayon, ASEAN integration.
Yes.
Tinitingnan tayo, kung minsan ang tinitingnan yung weakest link, hindi yung pinakamalakas na eskwelahan.
You're talking about standards, sir, no? Yung mga programa ng iba't ibang paaralan, public man or private, in offering courses. Isa sa mga problema, yung isang bata, lilipat ng ibang paaralan. Gusto niyong mura lang, pero pagdating doon, walang na ma-credit na mga subjects. So, halimbawa, English ako sa ibang university, tapos lilipat ako. Pagdating doon, walang yung mga subjects taken from my previous university, hindi pwedeng i-credit doon. Hindi ba, supposedly, pareho lang?
May minimum requirements kami sa curriculum. It's supposed to be pare-parehas. Pwedeng doon, makredit. Pero ang ibang eskwelahan, nag-o-offer din ng subjects na wala doon sa minimum requirements. Yun ang hindi nakikredit. Saka, ang admission requirements, internal policy yan ng higher education institution kasi we are protecting our academic freedom. may academic requirements that's beyond the minimum standard. Kung halimbawa, kung may inma tayo sa medical program, iba-iba ang cut-off niyan. Depende kung sikat yung eskwelahan at nakakapag-graduate ng maayos, nakakapag-produce ng board top notchers o mga gano'n ang mga factors. So, iba-iba yan. Again, we are respecting the academic freedom of every higher education institution. They have their own admission requirements. So, tinitingnan yan ng registrant sa academic dean, baka parehas ang pangalan, pero iba-iba ang description. Baka iba yung yung nakapaloob doon sa pangalan. So, okay. O kaya, nag-aano ng certain grade na, okay, below this, hindi namin mag-credito. So, estudyante, tatransfer ka, dahil nagtatransfer ka, bahala ka kung acceptable sa'yo yung admission requirements ng eskwela o ayaw mo. Anyway, you can shop around. There are plenty of schools na kung pwede kang admit. And you cannot force yourself.
Yes. So, meaning walang tayong basic requirements na halimbawa, English 1 ng isang paaralan, ganito din ang English 1 ng yung basic, yes sir.
Okay, thank you very much with that, ma'am, to clear that particular thing. All right. CHED sets its minimum standards. Okay. So with that CHED, as long as we say in that particular program, a total of 146 units for the 4-year degree program, that's the CHED minimum standards. Now, it will happen to 150 or more because every institution has its own VMGO, vision, mission, goals, and objectives. All right. And aside from that, iba-iba sila ang vision, ha? Vision ni Catholic 1, Catholic 2, vision ni non-Catholic 1, vision ni Public 1. Meron silang sarili. Ano ang tatak ng eskwela nila? That's why after meeting the CHED minimum standards, you will sit for the parts of the academic freedom will come in. So now, these level 3, level 1, 2, 3 accredited programs offered by the schools, yan ang problema. Kung si non-accredited estudyante na eskwelahan magpunta sa accredited school kasi merong standards, mini-maintain nila required by the accrediting bodies. Okay, sample, English. They wanted to have from the CHED minimum requirements of English 9 units. Now you will add another subject, the English plus. They even call it remedial English. I said, no, the remedial ang English. English plus, because they wanted to have that these students is equipped with the basic communication skills as they wanted that our tatak of this institution, accredited level 3, hindi ganun mag-speak ang level 3 accredited nating estudyante. So nangyari, si non-accredited estudyante, nagpunta kay level 3 accredited, hindi siya ma-credit. Ang may kulang pa siya. Plus ang subject sa institutional mandate, according to their vision, mission, and goals, and objectives, tatak ko ito. Mag-maintain ako 100% passing top-notchers pa. That's precisely how. And nothing is in check. Won't dip its finger as far as quality is concerned. Yes. Nothing is wrong as far as quality is concerned. Except if the curricular offering that per school is already straight-jacketed or commercialized, that's the time CHED will look into. That is why when the school will submit their curriculum enhancement or revision, they have to submit to CHED regional office and we have to scrutinize everything, which is now, so you should have the curriculum map, which is CHED minimum requirements, which is institutional, and what is the justification if you do have some.
Yes.
Si Ma'am Carlin, commercialize na din, kaya po nag-50 ka units ang per semester.
In addition to that, every school, aside from the thrust of the school, they also need to consider the need of the industry. Because when they will offer that particular degree, they should also look into what is really the need of the industry. Kaya nga no, sayang ang mga daghang subjects i-offer din, wala din gamit, i-graduate sa bata. Ano yung also you need, like here in Region 7, specifically here in Cebu, we are aware na kusog kaayo ang mga call centers, mga BPO. So also may mga need na pwedeng i-integrate ng mga subjects para when the student will graduate, he or she will be equipped with the needed skills.
Wala importante, di ba?
Yes. Before mo throw sa floor sa questions, is ko sa taga-institution fee increase.
Oo.
Kaya mo man na yung ano.
Okay, basig apektado itong eskwelahan na nila. O pila ka buok ang
apply o
nang-apply o pila na aprobahan o pila ka porsyento. Usually ba doon na ba yung mga public schools, public state universities na mag-apply, sir?
Well, fortunately, walang for so long, no? Tuition and other fees, hindi nag-i-increase ang state universities and colleges. At most of the local colleges hindi nag-i-increase. Usually yung mga private schools, kasi hindi naman sila subsidized ng gobyerno.
Yes,
ang lifeblood nila, nakadepende sa bayad at other income ng mga estudyante and other resources. So sa ngayon, we have 134 higher education institutions in the region. Only ilan lang to, no? Higher education institutions that applied for increase in Region 7 for all levels, 8 lang, 8. Oo. So, ilang percent yun? Napaka 5.97.
Out of the total number of colleges in the Visayas.
In the Visayas,
5% lang.
Ang higher education institutions that applied for increase in Region 7 for freshmen, mga first year, 5 or 3.73. Pero hindi namin to kino-consider na tuition fee increase actually, no? Kasi yung sa first year naman, ang estudyante has the option kung saan gusto mag-enroll. Wala naman itong pilitan, no? Kaya wala itong consultation, sino kukonsultay namin sa first year. Usually, ang rason kung bakit nag-i-increase, siyempre kailangan nilang nadidiman din yung mga faculty members for salary increase.
Yes.
And 70% of the increase will go to salaries and wages and other benefits of faculty and non-teaching personnel. 20% will go to the development of the school, mga facilities, equipment, mga ganon. 10% lang ang sa ROI.
Yes.
At ang ibang mga eskwelahan, binabalik pa sa eskwelahan for their operations. Tsaka, nakikita namin, aside from yung stringent mechanism para mag-increase, like yung kailangan, alam namin yung previous compliance, kung saan napunta yung incremental proceeds, itong mga nag-increase ng mga eskwelahan, saka yung intended compliance, dapat nakikita namin yun, in percentage and a real peso equivalent kung saan napupunta. So, itong mga eskwela naman to calibrated and increase. Dahil calibrated, bakit? Hindi sila mag-increase so much. Dahil baka mag-drop out yung mga estudyante. Or most baka pumunta rin sa ibang eskwela na hindi nag-increase.
Mga average of how much percentage?
Ilan ang average nito? Less than 5. By the way, wala pang final number to. Saka itong mga eskwela na to, hindi ba makakapagsabi na automatic ang approval nito.
They're applying.
Ito, isa-subject pa for another scrutiny sa Central Office. Dahil ang education deflator natin is 3.3. Yung 3.3 na yun ang inflation rate na dapat hanggang dun lang ang increase nila. Pero kung tutusin, yung inflation rate na yun, that was yung purchasing peso last year. So halos walang increase in terms of yung purchasing power, no? So, sasubject pa to, and we have to justify bakit, kaya constrained kaming hindi muna maglabas ng pangalan ng eskwelahan. Kasi,
so, applicants pa yan, sir?
Applicants pa to as of this moment.
At least 8 of the 134.
Pero pwede natin malaman within Cebu City kung ilan, sir? Kahit hindi mo lang pangalanan ng paaralan.
7. 7 out of 8.
So one is from what province?
Bohol.
Sa Bujol.
Okay. So
it's time for our
Members of the
media
media control their questions.
Sir, I understand there are 5 who are applying for the tuition fee increase this coming 2017 and 2018.
Oh, there are plenty. I mentioned 8.
8.
Not only 5.
8. All levels.
All levels,
Okay,
yes.
so I understand all levels, and the K-12 is still until 2018. So no enrollees tayo this year. So when would we know if those schools will be approved with their tuition
Hindi
fee?
mo masasabing walang enroll sa first year. Kasi may mga early adopters, no? May mga bumalik sa eskwelahan, no? Mga returnees. Kaya nag-open for the first year. Hindi yung kasala sa yung nag-graduate na talagang sasalang sa K-12. Pero kukunti lang yun. Kukunti lang yun.
Yeah, i-clarify ko lang, sir. 8 of the 134 schools in the region who applied for all levels of the
Yes, correct.
and then you mentioned 5
For freshmen.
okay, for the college.
Oo. Yun siguro yung mga mga nag-offer ng first year college.
Okay.
Dahil hindi naman lahat ng eskwela may first year no? Dahil apektado sila sa K-12. Walang
Usually,
papasok.
sir, for this year, when does the CHED central office release the approved tuition fee increase? Will it be this month or next
Within
month?
this month, definitely. Kasi, kailangan may informed choice yung public about the tuition fee increase.
And another issue here, I understand we have allocated about 8 billion pesos for the SUC's free tuition.
Yeah, correct. Oo.
Yung free tuition pala.
Free tuition.
Yeah, we already have the implementing guidelines for that.
Yeah.
Sir, I understand. Can you mention the guidelines?
Yes, oo. Itong guidelines on the grant of free tuition in state universities and colleges for fiscal year 2017. Pero yung fiscal year 2017, kung i-ano natin ito sa school year, 2017-2018. Oo, may guidelines nga ito, no? Dito na may mention din kung magkano ang allocated per state college or university. Meron dito sa Region 7 in particular, andito makikita natin, sa Bohol Island State University, 50 million. Sa Cebu Normal University, 33,146,000. Sa Cebu Technological University, 379,192,000. Sa Negros Oriental State University, inayan na to, no? Pero nakasali pa rin dito, 130,702,000. Sikihor State College, 7,943,000. Ano ang basihan kung bakit ganito ang distribution nitong pondo out of the 8 billion? Nagsubmit ang bawat state college or university kung magkano ang nadi-derive nila out of tuition. At yun ang pinunuan nitong sa General Appropriation Act ng 2017, yung Higher Education Support Fund. So kung marami kayong estudyante, ito ang tuition, ito ang amount na derive from tuition, ito ang ibibigay sa inyo out of the Higher Education Support Fund. Okay. So, may mga priorities to. Ang unang priority rito na i-admit ng eskwelahan, yung mga scholars na nag-aaral doon, no? Pagkatapos, yun ang pupunuan, particularly yung mga graduating, no? Mga graduating yan. Graduating, tapos third year, second year, first year mga scholars. Pagkatapos niyan,
Kung may sobra,
asan ba yun? Hanapin na.
so hindi para lahat ng mga estudyante ang pwede makapag-avail ng free tuition.
Ang susunod yan, na yung second priority, yung continuing students, yung mga ongoing, no? Mga ongoing students, yung may rin category, yung graduating, with one semester remaining, nasa guidelines. Pagkatapos dyan, yung new enrollees and returning students, kung may sobra pa dun sa sa pondo. Pero ang estimate naman yan, ang sinabit ng eskwelahan na binigay sa kanila, yung actual tuition na nangyari, may historical data na magkano ba ang talagang nadiderive namin out of tuition. Kasi ang eskwelahan, maraming resources yan. Maraming sources of income, by the way. No? Hindi lang tuition. So sa tuition, kung ito ang ibibigay namin sa inyo kasi ito yung tuition. Yung mga scholars na, naka-factor na yun doon. Kaya kung tutuusin, libre. Scholar ka man o hindi scholar, pag may pondo kayo, libre kayo sa State College o University. Sa tuition.
Sa tuition.
Okay.
So at least, no, bawa na yun sa publiko nga, dili tanang mga estudyante automatic nga maka-avail sa mga programa or libre. Kaya mo madunggan sa mga balita nga, pang-eskwela mo sa mga government universities and colleges, libre. So, dili yan. Question na itong isgutan, no? Okay. Mitch.
Director, follow-up lang po. Meron po bang comparison, Director, if this year po na allocation or allocated budget po is higher compared last school year po, Director?
Ngayon lang tayo nag-free tuition. No? Although, ang state colleges and universities, kung tutusin, highly subsidized na gobyerno yan. Lahat kayo scholar ng bayan. Kasi kung mag-tuition kayo full, ay malaki ang ibibigay ninyo sa eskwelahan. But because that's highly subsidized, maliit na lang. But then, ngayon, libre na talaga. Wala na kayong ibibigay na tuition. Provided, nasapat yung pondo. So, may mga priorities. May mga priorities yan.
Alam niyo na kung magkano ang budget ng CTU.
Okay.
Nakikita ko nga dito, pinakamalaki sa buong Pilipinas yata, CTU.
Okay. Kasi ando na sa tent kami nagkapasing.
Okay, we actually discussed a lot of things, no, now there's lesser time for the questions. Okay, it's about time that we will just ask for their extra.
Siguro pangayuan na lang nato parting statement ang ato ang mga bisita. Okay, unahon na ko si Dr. Josefina Ronquillo, ang Supervising Education Program Specialist. Sir, basin doon na pa kay panawagan or pahibaw nga gusto ni mo ipahibaw sa itong mga listeners and televiewers.
Okay, pahibaw sa tanan. Submit na mo sa tanan mga requirements for your scholarships with the K-12 transition program because there's a timeline. And we even give the extension for that considering that there are some documentary requirements na hindi nila makaya dayon. So please submit na within this month because mag-June na enrollment na, so you will be affected with your enrollment and some delivering HCIs. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ronquillo. Okay, si Attorney Pasita Isugan, ang Chief sa Administrative Division sa CHED Region 7.
Sa gihapon, salamat kami ang dako ninyo sa atong mga tigpaminaw. Sa lang ka concern, higher education institutions that intend to open programs for the school year 2018-19, they're required to submit their applications with the CHED Regional Office on or before June 30 of this year.
Okay, nag-deadline na. Si Dr. Carmen de la Peña, nga to ang Education Supervisor, ma'am.
So, earlier there was a question about naabay school, government school that increase. Wala kay naamatay free tuition intended. So, the schools na nag-apply, puro private. Okay, so daghang salamat sa mga listeners or viewers na namilaw karong buntaga. Salamat sa PIA and DYMR na gihatagan ninyo ang CHED o higayon ng mahimong guest dire.
Okay, thank you. And our Regional Director, CHED Region 7, Dr. Friday Bernal, sir.
Kahit saan ako na-assign, isa lang ang marching order ng mga regional directors. No? To make our higher education locally responsive and globally competitive. Kaya ginagawa namin ang lahat para very competitive tayo.
Okay.
At ang opisina ko bukas na.
Yes, bukas. Okay, once again, thank you so much for coming. And we also would like to thank once again the Ramon Aloysius Foundation for having us here twice a month. This is a very good venue where you can hold your conferences and your meetings. So, until next week, this is Ferliza Contratista from PIA Cebu. Maayong buntag.
Kinisa si Annabella Grosa sa DYMR Radyo ng Bayan Cebu, manghinaot nga kamunta ng mga suking tigpaminaw mga televiewers na kapupo uta mong pagtulunan sa ato ang mga lipag-isgutan din karong adlaw. Mayong adlaw kanatong tanan.
The ASEAN is an organization founded on August 8, 1967. It was built to promote cooperation in the socio-cultural, economic, and political security pillars of the region. The Philippines will assume chairmanship of ASEAN 2017, which also coincides with the 50th year of the regional community. As the chair, the Philippines champions positive change in the community to produce a unified voice in the world. 6 thematic priorities were laid down to outline what the community needs in achieving holistic growth and development. Several major elements, outcome documents, policies, and agenda make up each of the 6 thematic priorities. A people-oriented, people-centered ASEAN. The ASEAN community puts its citizens' welfare at the center of its priorities, where the rights are protected and their well-being recognized as the key to the region's progress. Peace and stability in the region. This thematic priority aims to uphold peaceful coexistence and regional cooperation among its member states. Maritime security and cooperation. This adheres to the rule of law for the peaceful resolution of disputes and the preservation and protection of maritime resources. Inclusive innovation-led growth. This will provide opportunities for business growth and will help improve regional capacity in responding to the demands of the global economy. Resilient ASEAN. This will cultivate a sustainable region that's prepared and responsive to disasters. And lastly, ASEAN, a model of regionalism, a global player. As one, the community aims to showcase its various capacities as a global player in the international arena. These 6 priorities will forge the future towards ASEAN's vision of an inclusive, united, and progressive community. As the past has united us, it is our promised future that will make us stronger. We are one ASEAN. This is our journey. This is our future. Together. ASEAN 2017. Partnering for change. Engaging the world.